Hello everyone, I am Autumn Flame, and today we're going to be talking about Division 2 weapon and gear talents. I'd like to thank Admiral Regis for creating this spreadsheet. We'll be using the data that is listed here. All credit goes to him for creating this. Okay, starting off with weapon talents in the normal category, we have Accurate, giving 15% accuracy, Optimized, 15% weapon handling, Stable, 15% stability. In my opinion, and these are all my personal opinions, those three are pretty useless in most circumstances. Picking a better weapon with better innate handling is better than a small increase to trying to bring down an unwieldy weapon under control. Reload speed can be effective here and there, but I wouldn't really worry about 10% reload speed. Optimal range, I really wouldn't worry about too much either. You really shouldn't be trying to use an SMG at sniper ranges, so sticking with two weapons that can cover different distances will definitely come more in handy. 10% rate of fire though for Allegro is definitely a handy one. Increasing your damage per second, especially on rapid fire weapons such as the SMG or LMG, will definitely be handy. 20% magazine capacity is never a bad thing. Increasing the amount of bullets between reloads will always help you. Okay, now we'll have a look at some of the advanced. Cannon, while equipped, this weapon increases throwing distance by 10%. That is pretty useless in my opinion. If your throw distance is only 10 meters, that's an extra 1 meter. I severely doubt we'll ever be in positions where that 1 meter will be a critical pass or fail. Eyeless, deal 10% weapon damage to blinded enemies. Extremely handy, especially if you've got a survivalist on your team, since they also already give a 10% bonus damage to enemies under status effects. That's an immediate 20% bonus damage. If the enemy's out of cover with their demolitionist skill, that's an extra 25%. A sniper on the team, you now have 35% bonus damage, which you can never turn that down. Fast hands, critical hits at a stack of 3% reload speed bonus, max stack is 20, definitely good for an SMG. Ignited, deal 10% weapon damage to burning enemies, again, that would never be a bad one, and usually I think burning is a more frequent way to put status effects on enemies, so that is an excellent pick at all times. In rhythm, while equipped, enemy skills have a 5% chance to refresh. Active cooldowns can occur once every 60 seconds. 5% chance is pretty bad, I really wouldn't worry about that. Lucky shot. Magazine capacity is increased. Missed shots from cover have a chance to return to the magazine. Now that is definitely handy. I would say that for a LMG or AR would come in handy, possibly even an SMG. Measured. The top half of the magazine has a plus 15% fire rate and a negative 20% weapon damage. The bottom half of the magazine has 25% rate of fire and 20% weapon damage. This is an absolute useless talent to have on your weapon. It may sound good at the start, but at the end of the day, you do the exact same damage over the exact same amount of time. Well, I did a short bit of math with a 10 round magazine doing 10 round damage per piece. The first 5 bullets fired in only 40 damage over 4 3/4 seconds, while the second half you did slightly more damage but a slower rate of fire, taking 5.25 seconds to fire, still totaling up to 100 damage in the same amount of time. There is no point ever taking measured that I can see. Protected reload. While equipped, this weapon grants 10% bonus armor while reloading, possibly for an SMG, maybe LMG, but I don't really know if it's going to be handy in all circumstances. Recharged. While equipped, enemy kills from cover can recharge depleted skill charges. That could definitely come in handy if you're fairly accurate at attacking from cover. Rooted, while equipped and in cover, all skills damage and healing is increased by 25% for 25 seconds. Buff is lost when exiting cover. Can occur once every 60 seconds. 25% increase to your skills damage and healing is definitely something good, even though it only comes out once every 60 seconds. Still is a lot better than a 5% chance. Sadist. Deal 10% weapon damage to bleeding enemies. Again, the same as fire damage or blind. Definitely a good one, though depending on your build, whether you take bleeding or fire will be up to you. Salvage. Killing a target has a 50% chance to refill the magazine. There is almost no point you would not want to take that, especially with an LMG, and you can kill 2 to 3 targets with a full magazine and get a 50% chance to fill it. You can, with some good luck, you could essentially fire near forever. Stop, drop and roll. While equipped, rolling removes burn, bleed and poison status effects. Can occur once every 60 seconds. I'm not too sold on that. Only once. Maybe you'd only get hit with that, but there's also probably be other healing and buffs that will negate that too. Unhinged. Receive 10% weapon damage at the cost of 50% weapon handling. You would probably do best with DMRs, and snipers would not be negative due to that, because weapon handling doesn't really apply to them. Zen. While equipped, resting in cover for 3 seconds removes blind and disorient status effects. Potentially good depending on the enemies you're fighting. If a certain group of enemies love using blind and disorient statuses, having that as a gear set to fight them would definitely be handy. Double duty. While holstered, reloading your primary weapon reloads this weapon. Sometimes, but generally you're only going to be speccing your armor to fulfill one weapon at a time. So unless you ran a LMG SMG, put away your LMG, fire one shot of your SMG, reload, and get that to do that. Might be the only time where that would actually be handy. Everlasting. While holstered, this weapon regenerates ammo while in cover. Again, you really only want to be specializing on one weapon at a time due to stat limitations on your gear. Greased. While holstered, this weapon increases weapon swap speed by 10%. Again, not that effective. Overlap. While holstered, your equipped weapon gains a handling bonus based on this weapon's type. That could come in handy with the Demolitionist and their LMG SMG combination. The LMG gaining a significant handling bonus that the SMG has could definitely come in handy there. Transmission. While holstered, shock applied to the agent transfers to an enemy within 10 meters. Can occur once every 60 seconds. Sometimes maybe, but it'd be very... I don't really count it as being handy there once every 60 seconds. Wascally. While holstered, you're able to resist 2 snare attempts. That could be incredibly handy in certain raids if enemies are going to ensnare you a lot. That could actually be a critical thing. In the superior group, Breadbasket. Landing body shots adds a stack of bonus plus 5% headshot damage to the next headshot for 10 seconds. Max stack is 10. That could be very handy, so that would give us up to 50% extra headshot damage, where you'd ideally want to be maybe for an LMG and allowing the climb to automatically climb up and hit them. Maybe something very handy, and 5 more offense stat, which I'm assuming that our Demolitionists are going to have high offense. Potentially also with a sniper. Close and personal. Killing a target within 7 meters grants 35% weapon damage for 5 seconds. No reason not to get that one if you're going to be fighting with SMGs and shotguns on the front line. First Blood. First shot fired from a full magazine deals headshot damage to any part of the body hit. 8 times scope or higher required, so that's exclusively for snipers. Killer. Killing an enemy with a critical hit gains 50% critical chance for 5 seconds. Very good. On empty. Reloading from empty grants 30% weapon handling for 10 seconds. Yes and no, it would depend on the weapon style that you're using, but not always the best. Optimist. Weapon damage increased as the magazine lowers. Weapon damage increased by weapon type. So we don't really know exactly how much of a damage buff you're going to get. So it's hard to say whether or not it'd be handy. Maybe, maybe not, it'd depend. Perpetuation. Headshot kills grant plus 5% skill duration for 5 seconds. That's very subjective depending on your build. Your skills 5% isn't really all that much. I really wouldn't count that as being handy. Preservation. Killing an enemy repairs 5% armor over 3 seconds. Headshot kills improves the repair. That could be very handy for long-term viability with living if you can maintain a lot of enemy kills. And the 7% defense stat, I had no idea who's going to have that completely at this point, but that definitely would be handy as a tank. 3 consecutive body shots kills refills the magazine and grants 50% weapon damage for 7 seconds. 4 or more offense stat. No reason not to take that ever. You get 50% weapon damage for 7 seconds or 3 consecutive body shot kills. Like, that's just good. Ranger. Every 10 meters away from their target grants 2% weapon damage up to 20%. For a sniper, absolutely. Headshot kills increase their skill repair and healing by 25% for 25 seconds. Reformation, good for a survivalist. Rifleman. Landing headshots adds a stack bonus of 10% weapon damage for 5 seconds. Max stack is 5. Additional headshots refresh the duration. All non-headshots remove the bonus. If you could maintain getting continual headshots, that would be handy. If you can't, then I would skip it. Spike. Headshot kills grant 25% skill damage for 10 seconds. That could be handy in certain circumstances, but that would be very build specific. Steady-handed. Landing a shot adds a stack of bonus 2% weapon handling. Max stack is 15%. At max stacks, each shot landed has a 5% chance to consume the weapon handling bonus and refill the magazine. That can be very handy for your LMGs, SMGs, or nearly any weapon, allowing bonus handling and a chance to up to 30% chance to consume the bonus to refill the magazine while you're firing would be incredibly good. Strained, 10% critical hit damage is gained for every 5% of your armor that is depleted, up to 200%. That is insane. Unless it's wrong, but that would be good for someone with an SMG for sure. Vindictive, killing an enemy with a status effect grants all group members within 15 meters plus 20% critical hit chance for 10 seconds. Absolutely going to be taken by any survivalist there, or anyone else would be handy because you're going to be wanting to apply status effects as soon as possible. Now we're going to be looking at the gear talents. Start off with capacitive, 20% skill duration. Could be handy, could not be, would depend if your damage or reliance is really heavily based on those skills. 20% could be increase or not. It depends on your current stats. Destructive, 20% explosive damage. Absolutely, for the demolitionist, you should have that at all times. 15% damage to elites, also very good if you're going to be fighting a lot of endgame elites. Hardened, 10% armor, maybe, maybe not. It depends on your build. If you're going for a tanky build, I'd probably say take it. Insulated, 10% hazard protection. 10% is not that much. Maybe if you needed it to boost yourself up to near 100 if that's possible, but otherwise I wouldn't really bother on it. Self-adjusting, 20% armor regeneration, that could be very handy. Surge, 10% skill haste, maybe, maybe not. Vital, 20% health. Ideally you'd want to keep your armor up at all times, so unless you're a tanky character I really wouldn't go for it. In the advanced category, braced. While in cover, weapon handling is increased by 15%. That's not too bad at all, and you're going to be in cover anyway. Mad Bomber. Grenade radius is increased by 150%. Grenades that kill an enemy are refunded. No reason for a demolitionist never not to have that. that is an excellent stat for them. Restorative, 10% health on kill, not too bad, but generally you don't want your health being damaged. Safeguard, killing a target grants a 150% bonus to repairing and healing for 20 seconds. Absolutely give that to your survivalist. To order, grenades can now be cooked by holding the fire button, making them explode earlier. I don't know if that's going to be handy, maybe in an emergency situation, but we'll have to see. Berserk, 10% weapon damage for every 10% of max armor depleted. That could be handy. Shotgun, SMG and assault rifle equipped. That could be handy, but you don't really want to be running on low armor at any one point in time to be relying on that. Centered, headshot kills grant status effect immunity for 10 seconds. That could be handy, especially for frontline fighters if you don't want to get status effects. Where cloaked, when your armor breaks, enemy skills cannot track you. That could be really handy for surviving. I don't know what class would benefit most from that at the moment. Maybe the sniper. Creeping death. Status effect spread to the nearest enemy within 10 meters. Can occur once every 15 seconds. Absolutely handy for a survivalist in the team. Spreading status effects to the nearest enemies within 10 meters. You should always have that, and with all the bonuses to damage, especially if it's fire, you're looking 30% extra damage on all enemies. No reason not to get that. Entrench, headshots from cover repair 5% of your armor. That could be handy at times, but it depend on your build, and 5% depending on how much armor you got could be, oh wait, that's using a rifle or marksman's weapon. No, I really wouldn't take that. Swapping to your gunslinger. Swapping to your sidearm within 3 seconds of a kill refills the sidearm's magazine and grants 20% weapon damage for the entire magazine. I don't really see that being handy. You don't really want to rely on your sidearm. Obliterate. Depleting an enemy's armor grants 25% critical hit damage for 5 seconds. That is pretty good and would be very good against the bosses and allow for some good spike damage. On the ropes, weapon damage is increased by 25% while all skills are on cooldown or reaches 0 charges. That is pretty good, especially if you've burnt all your skills and you're doing damage. That's an extra 25%. So you could be looking there 35, 40, 50, 60% damage after burning your skills out as quickly as possible. 65% extra weapon damage at all times cannot be ignored. Patience. After being in cover for 3 seconds, armor repairs by 5% every 1 second. Possibly being handy, but 5% is a long time to get it back up to 100. Payload. Destroying an enemy's asset grants 50% explosive damage for 15 seconds. Excellent for the demolitionist. Skilled. Skills have 35% chance to reset skill cooldowns. That could be very handy for your demolitionist when they're bumping out massive amounts of explosive damage, and getting them reset and doing it again and again and again is something very good. Spotter, 10% weapon damage to pulsed enemies. If you have a sniper with enemies that are pulsed with the drone, and looking at, and you've got status effects, you're pushing 45 to 50% bonus damage on an enemy. No reason not to have that if possible. Terminate. Depleting an enemy's armor grants 35% skill damage for 15 seconds. Again, good for a demolitionist. Unbreakable. 25% of max armor is repaired when your armor is depleted. Armor kits used within the next 5 seconds are not consumed. That could be very handy at times for a tank if you're going to be taking a lot and being able to spam them out to get yourself back up. Unstoppable force. Killing an enemy grants 2% weapon damage for every 10,000 max armor, up to 40%. That could be handy for a defensive build. I am absolutely sure that we're going to get more talents for gear and weapons as the time goes on. Endgame gear and sets are likely to have special ones that aren't listed here. Of course, this is all just beta at the moment. I hope that some of this information has been entertaining for you or informative. If you like this sort of content and analysis of information that we do know, theory crafting and the likes, feel free to like and subscribe to my YouTube, my Twitch, or follow me on Twitter, and I will be sure to produce more content like this in the future, and I will see everybody in DC.